before we get started with the supercut, let me just say, Emily's whole entire catalog is a supercut. I mean, maybe there's like a handful of videos that could have made it, but didn't make it. That let you know how long and how deep she been in this game. But I have to say, it's a really beautiful story, and you'll probably see it in some of these clips. It's probably going to be a 4-part series, each about an hour long, I would say. But it really shows you her start on TikTok, and then some of the best videos that she's put out, which once again are really, really good. But then there are some videos in there that shows more of a personal side, where she talks a little bit about her kids, and just for brief flashes, and how she had some trauma in her life and had to work through that. So without further ado, enjoy. Not going to do a lot of talking in this, might pop up here and there, but this is something to show her appreciation. I did one for Sarah Eaton, and that got good reception, and I was very happy to see that. So once again, without further ado, let's get into it.
I'm hungry.
Is that now my problem?
Yes.
I understand. Give me 30 seconds.
30 seconds and then what?
I'll take you to get through. I'll solve my problem.
Thank you. Okay, goodbye.
Bye.
If you're wondering why he's no longer texting you, it's probably because when he felt like he was putting in all of the effort. Because he's the one that sent the good morning and good night text first. He's the one that would ask you how your day was. He would specifically check on that one thing that you told him you were doing today. And it is not because he has all the time in the world and he has nothing better to do. No, he's busy with his own things, but he made a conscious decision to make time for you. And it's only when he saw over and over again that his efforts were not being reciprocated that he decided to stop.
Hey, I just wanted to say, really beautiful, and I'd love to take you to dinner sometime.
No thanks.
Okay.
That's it? You're not gonna try to convince me?
But you said no.
Yeah, but no can mean yes.
If I want to play games, I got a Nintendo at home, so you're good. Thank you. Have a great day.
But I love Nintendo.
If a girl cancels your first date without good reason, text her this. Okay, cool. Thanks for letting me know. And that is all you need to say. The ball is in her court to let you know when she is free next, if you want to give her another opportunity. If she cancels twice, text her this. Hey, I don't think it's meant to be. Take care. Then find someone who is not going to flake.
Men know better than to give a second chance to a woman that cancels on her first date without good reason. And he won't be rude, he won't ask why, he won't be passive aggressive, and he won't even try to talk her out of canceling that date. Because he just knows that that means that that woman is not excited enough for the date. He is not her first choice, and nothing will ever change that. And again, men know this, which is why they would rather just save their time and energy. And sure, maybe if she's willing to come back with a plan and she puts in the effort into planning that second date, maybe he'll take her up on it. But let's be honest, how many women are actually doing that? Which is why most men will just delete her number, keep his peace, and move on. Good men that have been cheated on and embarrassed don't really do relationships or feelings. So if he's trying with you, it's real.
How come no one talks about how different it is to go from dating and talking to guys who just absolutely love bomb you to talking to a guy who's probably a little bit more emotionally stable, probably a little bit more mature? Let me tell you, it can be confusing. It's like, why are you not texting me 24/7 and then getting upset when I don't reply within a certain amount of time just because you really want to hear from me that day? I don't understand why you're not sending me random flowers or my favorite coffee order after the first date because you're just thinking about me. Why are we not having 4-hour-long phone calls every single night, messing up both of our sleep schedules, therefore putting us both in a very unhealthy place because we need some sleep? Why are you not joking about our kids and like our wedding one day? Why are you not taking me to meet your entire family after the second date? I don't I don't understand. Why are you not just completely obsessed with me? I mean, do you even like me at this point? You can see where I'd be a little confused, right? No? No, this is normal? Oh.
This is a real thing that women have to think through if they're not used to dating a good man within a healthy relationship. But the problem is in the initial dating stages especially, she might think that he's giving low effort when really it's normal effort. She may even make the mistake of assuming that he's not that into her. When in reality, especially in the early dating stages, it's just that he doesn't want to prioritize a woman that he barely knows over other things in his life. Which, all in all, is a good thing, ladies. Because once you are in a committed relationship with that man, you're going to be the priority that is not easily replaced. Good men are no longer looking for complicated. They're looking for peaceful simplicity because they're tired of fixing everybody else's problems.
What could possibly be on that man's phone that is more interesting and than the hypnotizing female body?
Oh, I don't know. Anything that doesn't get him labeled a creep? Like texting a friend or texting his mom or watching the game or scrolling TikTok? I mean, women are constantly telling men to keep their eyes off of them at the gym. Yet every so often there's a woman that is offended by him not paying attention to her. And I might get into a lot of trouble for this, but I think there is a definite undertone of this when women dress a certain way at the gym. Guys know it, and women, you know it too. But this is next level because this woman is actually bashing that man for not paying attention to a woman that is doing a workout that is making things a little bit revealing. This is exactly the sort of thing that makes men feel like they are damned if they don't, damned if they do. Which, because most men are good men, they aren't going to allow this to change their behavior. But it is really frustrating because for good men, their worst fear is being called a creep. So to then get bashed for the behavior that he's demonstrating in order to not be a creep, it's sort of messed up.
That is absolutely insane. The fact that the man is minding his business like modern women have asked him to do, yet y'all are still on his case about it.
A girl that thinks she loves you will ignore you for an entire day to teach you a lesson. A woman that loves you will talk to you so that she can spend the day with you.
This question is for the men. Why are you so dramatic? So dramatic when we ask to do a simple task around the house. This goes out to the husbands. Men, husbands. I ask my husband, can you sweep and mop? Please. I'll do the bathrooms. He said, no problem. I was like speechless. He didn't fight me on it. 4 days later, this shows up.
This is just like a man, and I don't mean that in any sort of negative tone. I mean that in a very good tone. Because men are logical thinkers, and they're really good at coming up with good solutions. So honestly, I don't see any drama going on here. I just see a whole lot of logical thinking from a very smart man that likes to work smarter, not harder.
And she like it too. She knows that was a smart move. That's why she TikToking it.
Women can do anything that men can do. Prove me wrong.
That man is demonstrating patience and mindfulness all while minding his own business and enjoying the peace. I don't know if guys are purposely doing this, but when they have their hat facing forwards until they're about to concentrate on something, so then they flip it backwards, girls, like it. If you're wondering why he's no longer texting you, it's probably because when he felt like he was putting in all of the effort. Because he was the one sending the good morning and good night text first. He's the one that would ask you how your day was. He would specifically check on that one thing that you told him you were doing today. And it is not because he has all the time in the world and he has nothing better to do. No, he's busy with his own things. But he made the conscious decision to make time for you. And it's only when, over and over again, that his efforts were not being reciprocated that he decided to stop. You never want to test a man that is not afraid of being alone, because you will lose every time. Trust me.
Let's go gambling! Aw, dang it. 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 Is this taboo? Baby, we built this. It's about time. In a minute, I'ma need a sentimental man or woman to pump me up. Feeling fussy, walk.
So one of my guy friends gave me permission to make a Hinge account for him because I was telling him how easy dating is with dating apps. And he was telling me that it's incredibly difficult. And I was like, Pete, you must be doing something wrong. And he gave me permission to create an account for him and just run the account. I've been a virtual boy for 3 days. And I've never felt this bad about myself. I feel like a freaking loser trying to get these girls to like me. And I'm starting to hate men because I'm like, when I say I mean Pete, because that's the account I'm using. Pete's about a 6. But I'm so desperate, I'm liking the 2s and the 3s, and even they won't like me back, Pete, which is a 6. So what level of delusion has entered women's heads? Like, what is going on? It is so difficult dating as a boy. I hate it. I'm on day 3 of being a boy, and I hate men, and I'm more depressed than ever.
This is exactly what men have been saying for years about dating apps. Because first off, it is very rare for men to even get matches, especially matches with women that they are actually physically attracted to. And that is not because men are swiping only on supermodels, like they're only swiping on 10s. They are swiping right on a variety of women, just as long as they think that they could be attracted to her. But ladies, you have to understand that even when men find matches, it is very rare for them to have an actually good conversation. Because usually you ladies are really dry texters and you will just ghost them oftentimes. So yeah, men have been complaining about this for the longest of times, which is why if you're a woman that is interested in a man off of a dating app, all you have to do is to show a little bit of effort. If you do that, that man is going to double down on the effort and the energy that he spends on you. He's going to pursue you and most likely be everything that you want him to be. It is like a no-fail way to end up with a boyfriend.
These modern women be terrible at conversation. Got that man carrying the entire conversation like he's LeBron James the entire night, and will expect the man to pay for the date happily and text her, "Did you get home safe?"
Tell me if you've ever connected to somebody like no other, to the point that still to this day you cannot stop thinking about them. And then tell me if you're still with them. Comment, stitch, duet, whatever, and then I'm going to share my theory in part 2.
I just drove 8 hours for a first date. I'm gonna say it again. I just drove 8 hours for a first date. That was supposed to happen at 8:30 p.m. this evening. Guess what time it is? 11:04 p.m. I am stuck in the middle of nowhere. I'm tired. I'm hungry.
This man meets a girl through Instagram. They text for 2 weeks. After conversating and opening up, he finds out that they live 8 hours apart. But he still wants to go out on a date, so he offers to drive 8 hours to her. The morning of, before he leaves for the 8-hour drive, he confirms the date. They talk on the phone multiple times while he's driving to the date. During one of those conversations, they plan on meeting at the bar because she says that she has nosy roommates. But then as they're talking more, she admits that she's feeling very nervous about the date. And like any gentleman, he offers to pick her up instead, but that's when she says that she doesn't want her parents to meet him. So she actually lied about the roommates because she actually lives at home. He's literally 20 minutes away when she reveals this to him. And not only that, she reveals that the reason why she doesn't want her parents to meet him is because they do not want her dating outside of her race. And he is not the same race as her. But this man takes the news so gracefully after an 8-hour drive. thrive. Ladies, you cannot complain that men no longer make grand gestures when this happens.
I'm not going to thank my husband for putting a new trash bag into the trash can. I'm not going to thank him for putting his clothes in the hamper. I'm not going to thank him for unloading the dishwasher. I'm not going to thank him for changing a diaper. I'm not going to thank him for cleaning a toilet. I'm not going to thank him for making the bed. I'm not going to thank him for doing any of the things that just come with living in a house. Like, if he would have to do it, if I didn't live here, like if he lived by himself and that was still a required task, I'm not saying thank you. That is just part of existing in a functioning home.
I'm not sure where this line of thought came from, that if we say thank you or show any type of gratitude, that we are enabling lazy men and that we will end up receiving less. Ladies, that is not how men work. And could you imagine if a man took the same line of thought and he decided he would no longer praise you for caring for your children, for making dinner, or for doing housework? Men are results driven, which is why gratitude, even for the small things, goes a long way. And withholding gratitude simply because you feel entitled to those things or actions is a recipe for disaster.
I mean, just general gratitude. It's just a basic human necessity in a relationship. Do you hate men?
Put a finger down if you met a man 3 years ago off of Facebook because he liked your profile pic, and come to find out you had a lot in common, but you only ever texted because it was during the pandemic, but it became something that you really enjoyed and you looked forward to every single day. But when you finally had your first date, you didn't feel crazy butterflies, which looking back was because this man did not give you anxiety, because he told you his intentions from the start and you just knew that he really, really liked you. So your best friend, she knows all this and she knows how much you were looking forward to meeting this guy, so she tells you, go on the second date. So you do. You go on this hike with this man for more than an hour and you actually have a really genuinely fun time. So when he asks, how about dinner that night? You say yes, even though you're still not feeling those butterflies. Fast forward to dinner that night. You will never forget that moment that you looked at that man when he was talking about something that he enjoyed and you don't even remember what it was. But somehow in that moment is when you knew that there was something so good within this man that was just ungodly attractive. And 3 years later, that is still how you feel about this man times 10. So when this man proposed to you yesterday on Christmas morning, you knew what you were going to say.
Well, congratulations, ma'am. You deserve it.
Right there.
All right, let's go.
That's
What you got, bro?
that right there is called loving. Like, that is real loving right
So this old girl, the girl you dating now,
there. Man,
she made that.
she made it for me.
And
I don't deserve it either.
what's this bag about?
Okay, hold on. What, the Lulu's?
Yeah, what's that bag about?
Look, she put me on some of her drawers.
Really?
Yes,
So
sir.
you wearing underwear?
I'm
Women?
wearing-
Is that women's underwear?
I don't know what they are, but they comfortable.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, you know, you get the breeze and all.
You know how many women would say to that woman that she shouldn't be doing wifely things before being a wife? Well, guess what? That woman is going to be the one that's wifed up within a year. And as for the ones giving that advice, well, I think that we all know what their relationship status is going to be. That woman knows what she's doing. She is practicing to be a wife. And that man, oh, even if he wasn't ready, he's going to make himself ready. Guys, tell me if you agree or disagree.
You know, the more I sit back after my divorce and look at things, and the more I focus on myself, the more I read, the more I research, the more I do the things to better myself, the more frustrated I get. And I'm not frustrated because I'm not making progress. I've made some huge strides. It's opened my eyes a lot into the way I used to see things versus how I see things now. But it just keeps bringing back all those thoughts, the way things were. Why didn't I see certain red flags? Why didn't I, move forward when I did see red flags? I see so many stories from guys who are similar to me. But then every time they post their story or something, there's always a woman that comes on and says, well, what did you do? Or, the woman always takes care of all these things around the house. She's exhausted and all this stuff. And I just think to myself, it's like, that's not the way it is anymore. And the majority of the stories I hear from men, it's just the complete opposite of that as a whole, in truth. The divorced men that I've talked to all say the same thing. They say I was trying to do everything to keep my relationship going. I did all the housework. I took care of the kids. I let her go out on the weekends. I took her on vacations. I did all these things. And yet the intimacy was gone. She was disconnected from me, and it was as if we were roommates. And I connect with that because that's exactly what happened to me. She decided she wanted to get a new job. She wanted to put all this time into a career. I supported it. I helped her. I was like the pillar that just helped her up and pushed her up. But then as soon as she got there and she got to what she wanted, she got this job, which sucks, by the way, she looked down on me. And she looked at me and she said, "You're below me. I'm moving on." And she ended up cheating on me. But that's not the frustrating part. Being cheated on, that is what it is. It's happened before. It'll probably happen again. That's just life. What's frustrating to me is watching myself grow, adapt, get stronger. Even though I have setbacks, watching myself get stronger, move forward, and get better. And then I look at her and her situation, and I see her just doing worse and worse. And her getting more and more petty and more angry and just doing more and more things just to get back at me, just to whatever you want to call it. I feel bad for her. And it's like, I just want to shake her. Like, wake up, woman. Like, you did this. You need to figure this out. Because so we can co-parent and get along. Because right now, this is not good for our son.
Just some small things that men do that completely melt a woman's heart. When you play with our hair, it just stimulates these nerves in like a whole different way. When you go on long walks with us, we actually get really attached to you when you do this with us. When you hold our cold hands, there's just something about you wanting to warm us up. Take that a step further and you want to warm up our feet? Oh, we're falling in love. If you don't text him back, that man knows you don't want to text him back because he's made the mistake of overthinking this situation before, and all it did was bring somebody into his life that did not see his worth. And he is not doing that again.
If you are a woman and you're married to a man or have a boyfriend, I've got something that'll probably clear up some confusion. What I have here is a list of criteria or guidelines per se that you could use on when it's okay for a woman to initiate intimate time with your husband or boyfriend. You can use these as a reference whenever you're wondering, is now a good time? 6 very easy to reference items. When is it okay? When we are awake. When we are asleep. When we are not actively being treated for something in a medical facility. When it is daytime. When it is nighttime. When it does not cause further unwanted bodily harm to either of us. Now let's put that in perspective. I'm going to go through some scenarios. So the first scenario is, it's the middle of the night and we are sound asleep. Well, let's remember our references. Is it nighttime? Yes. Are we asleep? That's okay too.
Can we talk about the man that got out of a toxic relationship years ago? He probably decided to remain single instead of risk his sanity again. And now it's been so long that he no longer actively seeks a relationship anymore. But it's not that he's sworn them off. It's just that he doesn't want to put his energy into pursuing somebody that doesn't seem interested in being pursued. He's not willing to chase something, especially when he's already found his peace. And he really enjoys his peace. So not only does the activity of chasing a woman disturb his peace, but even entering into a relationship with her eventually can threaten his long-term peace. But what's messed up is that this group of men are usually really good guys. They're the guys that would make really good husbands. But these men will not move forward with a woman unless he sees genuine interest from her to learn about who he is, what he loves, how he thinks, where he likes to spend his time. It requires real effort on her part. And it is only when this type of man finds a woman that is willing to put an effort and genuine interest early on in a relationship that man will risk it again.
Men got the hater blockers on, and most of these modern women going to disappear because that's exactly what they are. A hater.
Okay, is it actually true that a guy treats you how he wants to be treated first, and then he starts treating you how you've been treating him?
I need to know if everybody's husband is the same way or if mine's just broken. Mine might be broken, honestly. But when I tell you we cannot have a single conversation without him saying something dirty, throwing a little razzle dazzle in there somewhere, and he don't even have to think about it. It just literally comes right off of his tongue. Like, I'll be like, oh, I had such a long day. Right away. Oh, I got something long for you. Like, why are they like that? Maybe they're not. Maybe it's just mine. God forbid me tell him I need a day snack. Because he's got one for me.
Okay, I'm gonna tell her your man's not broken. He's just really into you. He doesn't have a filter. He can't stop himself from saying the things that are popping into his head because that's what he's thinking when he looks at you. And he says it, he lets it out because he thinks that you will take it as a compliment. He believes that showing that desire for you is a positive thing. And if it works 1 out of 100 times, he will continue to do it forever. Have you guys seen the single father that's been getting attacked on social media after he publicly called out his ex-wife? She gained the sympathy of millions for being a single mom crying as she was making her own birthday cake. Well, he brought receipts showing that he has full custody, that she has a history of mental health issues and doesn't have a job. And she owes over 20 grand in child support. This had some people rethinking their sympathies until a very large female creator who I follow actually took the mom's side because she relates to the mom's story. A lot of women are now saying that he probably caused her mental health issues, that he got her to sign this custody agreement when she was not mentally well, and that he's a doctor, so he shouldn't need the child support. Now just take a step back. Could you ever imagine women taking this same stance if it was a dad that signed that custody agreement? If it was the dad that had mental health issues? If it was the dad that didn't have a job? If it was the dad standing in a gorgeous home while owing 20 grand in child support? That man would be demolished on social media. You cannot convince me otherwise. The fact is that we don't know all the facts of the story. The only thing that I agree with is that he shouldn't publicly bash the mother of his child. But on the other hand, I understand why he would feel so frustrated to make this mistake. I sympathize with her for the fact that she struggles with her mental health, but I also sympathize with him that he's the one that's left to figure it out.
And if I remember that video, it was a response. She was sitting up there in the kitchen, crying, wiping her tears, talking about struggling to make a kid's lunch. And then that's when he came on and said, she's actually not struggling. This is her mugshot right here. She's been to jail. She's not doing what she's supposed to do, period. Was the mugshot a little bit much? If you step back and look at it objectively, would I want somebody to know that I've been to jail? Or if I've been to jail? Probably not. So I give him that. But she was on there actually starting it first.
If a girl does this, never talk to her again. This situation has probably happened to you, and a lot of good men do not recognize it. They do not see it for what it is. Guys, if a girl leaves you for another guy, you have to completely cut it off. Cut off all communication and all potential communication. Do not try to get her back. Do not send her a bunch of sad text messages or even angry text messages. Simply accept that she's moved on and that she's no longer interested in you. Because men, even if you could, you do not want her back. And I mean a day from now, a week from now, a month from now, years from now. Because if she goes for another guy while you are still in her life, it is because she thinks that he is better than you. And I know what you're thinking. If you really love this girl, you think that you could convince her otherwise, that you could improve yourself to the point at which she believes that you are better. Don't do it, because even if you are able to convince her, she will never respect you. So look, do the self-improvement. Make yourself better, but do not go back to her. Find someone new.
They forgetting my name. They call me Hell. They call me Stacy. They call me her. They call me Jane. That's not my name. That's not my name. That's not my name.
I don't understand how you don't get super annoyed with me.
Huh?
I don't understand how you don't get super annoyed with me.
It's only a bus.
It was actually a lantern. I love Lampin. You love Lampin. We all love Lampin.
Material things. I don't care about this. I don't care about these or cars or anything. I only care about you. If you're fine, then I'm happy.
This man is clearly so patient, and it is probably because he is completely at peace with himself and his world. That is why there is literally no reason to get angry at such a small thing. Because small things cannot ruin his peace. Especially small things that are caused by the woman in his life that creates that peace. He literally has no reason to be angry. It's not just telling about him and who he is, it is telling of their relationship. The most dangerous person to be with is somebody that doesn't want to love you, but also doesn't want to lose you.
And I'm not keeping now the strength I need to push me. You show the lights that stop me, turn to stone. You shine it when I'm alone.
I don't understand today's dating world. I take girls on nice dates, I get them flowers, I'm emotionally available, I go to the gym, it doesn't matter what I do. And yet every time I get the same outcome. I constantly get ghosted, I'm not feeling it, I'm not ready for a relationship, yet they get in one a week later. And then to top it off, I get, you're too nice of a guy. Like, the one for me! Oh, and that's not even the worst. What is up with everyone thinking they're on The Bachelor? Like, people are talking to 10 people, and I can't even get a hug.
The reason why every man dreams of being with a woman that initiates intimacy is because it makes him feel like he's desired for who he is as a person rather than what he can provide.
How you doing?
I don't have the energy for you.
This is so relatable for most men because the fact is that they tend to have a higher drive than women, so they're going to be turned down more often. Now, the changeable piece, though, is in the mindset because even if that man is not in the mood, he knows that he's going to get there and they're going to have an enjoyable experience. He just wishes that she could have the same mindset.
Yeah. Where do I put it? On the ground.
Who needs a man? Not me, baby. Not me.
You see? Oh my god. There's no oil. Now oil is coming, you see? Yeah.
Yeah, this is how I don't need no man turns into a I don't need no car real quick. Ladies, it is okay to not know it all. And just because you have a girlfriend standing there videoing you and agreeing with your decision, it does not mean it is a good decision. I swear, it's always the ones that say that they don't need no man. They're this independent boss lady. They are the ones that get themselves into the most trouble, which is kind of painful to watch. But the truth is, I think that a lot of these women, they end up dating and finding a good man. And guess what? Their opinion about men all of a sudden changes. But you know what's sad is that we don't see that part. They don't post that part. And then this part is left out there for the internet to see. Men see way too much negativity. So it helps ladies that if you've had a positive experience and you are okay with being vocal about how you want and need your man, post it.
I don't need no man. I don't need no car is a crazy comment.
Men love it when you text first, especially when you text them one of these 4 things. One is when you don't even really say anything other than you're thinking of him and you wanted to say hi. This tells him that you care about him and that you're not just reaching out when you want something. 2, when you talk about enjoying your time together. It can be as simple as you telling him that you enjoyed your time together and that you can't wait to do it again. 3, when you show genuine appreciation and you compliment his qualities. The more specific, the better. For example, if he brought you flowers the night before, you might text him that next day and just talk about how good they're making your kitchen smell. And just that it was really thoughtful of him. This message just makes him feel valued and acknowledged. 4, sharing something of common interest. Whether it's a funny TikTok about something that's relatable within your relationship or a link to a great hiking trail. This demonstrates that you're thinking of him, you're thinking of past or future experiences with him, and that you want to bond over those shared experiences.
I walked into the kitchen and I looked at my husband and I thought, dang, I love this man so much. And do you want to know what I did after I thought that? I walked away. I didn't say anything. I didn't tell him. I walked away. You know, 3 or 4 days ago, my husband said to me, you know, I just don't feel like you ever tell me that you love me. I don't feel like you ever hug me. I don't feel like, and I sat there and I went, dude, I think the world of you, but I don't always tell you that. And then I walked into the kitchen, looked at him, thought how much I loved him, and walked away. And I'm supposed to make the assumption that, or he's supposed to make the assumption that, oh, she looked at me for a minute, she loves me. How many times does somebody feel unloved because a spouse just doesn't verbalize what they're actually thinking? Verbalize to your spouse how much you love them,
Every time you look at your wife and you think she looks beautiful, let her know. When you look at your husband and you think, dude, I am lucky to have that guy, let him know.
Too many husbands go through life not knowing if they mean anything to their wives, yet they stay. It's kind of messed up.
Am I the ass about giving my husband my escape money when I saw that we were financially struggling? I, 34 female, have recently ran into a situation with my husband, 37 male, and I'm curious about if I'm the ass or not. So me and my husband have been together for 8 years, married for 7. When I got married, my mother came to me privately and talked about setting aside money as a rainy day / escape fund if worse came to worse. My husband has never showed any signs of being dangerous and rarely even gets upset. But the way my mom talked about it, it seemed like a no-brainer to have. When me and my husband got together, we agreed I would be a stay-at-home wife. We are both child-free, so that was never a concern. My husband made a comfortable mid-6-figure salary. All was good until about 2 years ago. He was injured at work in a near-fatal accident. Between hospital bills and a lawsuit that we lost, that ate up nearly all of our savings. I took a part-time job while my husband was recovering. But when he fully recovered, we transitioned back into me being unemployed, as my husband insisted that it was his role to provide. He is currently working 2 full-time jobs and Ubers on his days off to keep us afloat. Here's where I might be the asshole. I do all the expense managing, and I've continued to put money into my escape account, although I significantly decreased from $750 a month to $200 a month. My husband came home exhausted one night and asked about downsizing because of all the stress of work was going to kill him. I told him downsizing would not be an option, as I had spent years making our house a home and offered to go back to work. He tried to be nice, but basically told me that me going back to work wouldn't make enough. After an argument, my husband went through our finances to see where we could cut back. He was confused when he saw I had regular reoccurring withdrawals leading back years and asked me about it. I broke down and revealed my money to him, which now sits at $47,000. After I told him all of this, he just broke down sobbing. His point of view is I treated him like a predator and hid money from him for years, even when he was at his lowest. I told him that the money was a precaution I would have taken with any partner and not specific to him. He left the house to stay with his brother and said I hurt him on every possible level. But my mom says this is exactly what the money is for, and I should bail now. Am I the ass?
I just feel so bad for a man that clearly is a very hard worker, and he's paired up with a woman that has been gradually siphoning his money. And then even when her man almost dies, she continues to hide the money. I'm sorry, but how can you watch your husband struggle and not help? It is so messed up.
Not gonna leave the body without ever letting you know. Without ever letting you know.
This man I'm seeing has the audacity to come over on a weeknight. And what does he do? Well, it was like 9 o'clock at night and I was still eating dinner because I didn't get off work till 8 o'clock p.m. But anyways, back to the story. He comes in and he sees a laundry basket full of laundry. He starts just folding that crap. Well, he asked me first because, you know, you kind of want to ask people before you start just folding their laundry randomly, right? Even if you are dating them. Then after that, then he freaking takes out my garbage. He rolls back in my garbage cans that had been sitting out for like 3 nights in a row. That one he did without asking me. And to top it off, he cleaned like the 3 items that were still in my sink. Acts of service is not even my love language. Like, it's just, I don't even know what the point of this was. There is a difference between a man that loves you but doesn't know how you want to be loved versus a man that doesn't care. Remember, he can't read your mind. A man will lose interest when he sees that he is trying way harder than you. It literally doesn't matter how pretty you are, how successful and confident you are. You will lose him simply because you are not showing him any effort.
I want you to suck it.
If you get the sense that she's ignoring you or blowing off plans or not texting you back in a timely manner or maybe never texting you first in order to seem higher value, let that girl play games by herself.
Would you rather go buy me an engagement ring right now or decimate everyone in that restaurant?
I could just go down to a
pawn shop and buy a fake ring. So yeah, that works for me.
So you want to give me a fake ring?
If it involves getting out of trouble, yes.
So is there a reason that you don't want to propose to me?
Because we've just gone on our first date.
Oh, and what's the problem?
Any of you watching this, if you don't see the problem either, I'm very concerned about you.
Oh, so now you're going to turn my audience against me?
I can tell you one thing for sure. That poor man is going home and deleting Bumble. That is the last Bumble date he will ever be on.
So you do want to be love bombed, then you don't want to be love bombed. What is wrong with these modern women?
I'm starting to wonder when women will really start truly believing this, because these men are not playing any sort of relationship game. Like, they truly mean it, especially when that man loves you. He loves seeing you in your most natural self. I get told the same thing when I go without makeup, and I actually believe him. And trust me, it's freeing when you get to that point, because you don't have to wear makeup every single day. And trust me, that man even has photos of you without any makeup on, and he pulls it up and looks at it every so often. He will even post it on social media without even thinking twice that maybe you don't think that it's attractive. Even if you don't think it's the most flattering, let that man have his moment, because he's just trying to show you off. Ladies, just save yourself a lot of hassle and just believe your man. He likes you as you are naturally.
Apart. And once you do it and figure it out, it's pretty easy. Even went through the stick.
Just learn this, guys. Because the woman that you're interested is not going to be able to resist godly hands. Trust me.
My guy is so cute. Look at him, isn't he cute?
Bro, you're tripping.
He's so
Yo, come over here, bro. My girl thinks you're cute.
What the bro?
What?
What the fuck?
You think it's funny playing games? I'm gonna tell him.
I was joking, bro.
Come here, dog.
No, stop. What the
I want him back. Go get him.
Stop pulling it down.
Maybe he's got a sister for me or some shit.
Babe.
What?
You want me to go be with that dude?
I don't give a fuck.
You don't sit here and embarrass me like that.
How is that embarrassing?
You just fucking told him to come over here. What the
Oh no, it's like the consequences of your own actions. Which is because, ladies, this sort of behavior is not cute. No man wants you to make loving you and being in a relationship with you into a competition. Because it's disrespectful, it's playing games, and it tells him that you must not like him that much. Which unfortunately means that you can no longer be his long-term plan. These are 5 red flags that men are no longer willing to accept. Number 1, when he tries to communicate about a problem and all he gets in return is the silent treatment. And then the only way that she comes out of that silent treatment is if he takes on all the fault and apologizes for everything. 2, when she is always complaining about everything. Because if she fails to see the good parts in anything, it is only a matter of time that he is added to that list. And she starts complaining about him. And at this point, appreciation will be out the window. 3, I'm just gonna say it. She's allergic to apologies. Because good women will recognize when they're in the wrong and they will apologize. Number 4, when she just doesn't treat him right. This will basically make him feel like he can't do anything right and nothing will make her happy. This is a red flag that he is no longer willing to ignore, because a relationship should be fun, loving, and affectionate. And lastly, number 5, she claims she's okay when she's not okay. She's just silently building resentment. But he knows, like, he can tell that she's off. She's just not willing to communicate it. That man just knows that no matter how badly he wants to work through it, he cannot be the only one.
Men talk about when they're alone, because I genuinely do not understand how men do not know personal.
Okay, so I guess this is a secret that many people don't know. Pop culture loves to portray men as being very simple and shallow, like we'll get together and we'll just talk about sports all day. We'll never get into anything about our personal lives. And I guess women don't realize there's a reason for this. From birth, it was my understanding that the most noble thing you can do as a man is not be a burden on other people. And most men I've known experience talking about deep subjects as work. You are putting a burden on them. It's not a burden to talk about sports or video games or Warhammer figures, but it is, in our perception, a burden to talk about our jobs, our relationships, and so on. So the arrangement you wind up with is, because I like you, I'm not going to burden you.
Wife!
What?
Look at me!
What?
Look how much stronger I am than you! You can train your entire life and you will never be this strong. I don't even have to try and I'm always stronger than you. Just dream about it. It's hilarious.
Why?
Because I'm a man.
The crazy thing about dating a good man that cares for you is that you have to get used to how they speak, because they will say things like, don't worry, let's go, let's do it, way more often than other things like, I'm sorry, I forgot, I can't, not today. And if you're not used to it, well, he'll make you get used to it.
Exactly. These modern women out here just be talking. The men out there doing it, been doing it, and gonna continue to do it.
I don't know if guys are purposely doing this, but when they can very gently take and hold your hand, even though you know how strong they are, girls like it. 3 questions for the guys, and we're going to make this a little fun, because I think I know y'all pretty well, but I want to put that to the test. So I'm going to run through 3 questions really fast so that you guys can stitch this. You can also put your answers in the comments, but I am writing my answers down. And if I find a stitched video with the same answers as the ones that I put on here, I am duetting you. I promise. So here we go. What is the most attractive trait in a woman? What makes you happy in a relationship? What is the one thing that would motivate you to move mountains for your girl? All right, I'm excited. Bring on the stitches. Your man is never upset that you don't want to be intimate with him. He's upset because you aren't telling him the real reason why you don't want to be intimate with him. Some of you may have seen the video of the wife that was admitting that she had been avoiding being intimate with her husband for days, and he had been asking. So eventually, when they were about to be intimate, that is when the baby started crying, and she went to go take care of it. The problem is what came next. She was already done putting the baby to sleep when she decided to stay in the baby's room, pretending like she was still putting her to sleep, so that she could avoid being intimate with her husband at all. Now, the first layer of this being so messed up is the fact that she shared this online instead of to her husband. But the other layer, the layer that would be there no matter what, is the fact that she wasn't willing to just communicate the truth to her husband. At this point, the lack of intimacy isn't even the problem for that man. The problem is the lack of communication and the avoidance instead of just open communication and honesty. And the last thing I'll say, the very bottom line, is that a man will not want to be intimate with you if you don't want to be intimate with him. It is a total turn off, trust me.
A couple of things. These modern women feel comfortable telling the internet their problems because a lot of times, because of society and the way that they've trained or influenced these modern women, then they know they're going to get validation. It's going to be an echo chamber for them. Number 2, and this is just my opinion, if somebody doesn't agree with your opinion, then you can just cut off the comments or like not respond, just not talk back. So they get whatever it is off of their chest without somebody pushing them back. If you go to your husband, he can go down the line and hold a mirror up to you and say, well, this is what you've been doing to me. Let's work it out. If we're going to work it out, it's not all on me. Let's work it out.
I'm sorry, but if you get upset at the man that really liked you from the start, but you didn't really like him, but you decided to give him a chance and then you got attached, goes from texting you all of the time to forgetting to text you good morning and good night. He did not suddenly lose feelings for you. He simply came to the realization that you don't like him very much because you weren't reciprocating. Because above all else, he wants to be appreciated and desired just like you.
Hey, babe.
Hello?
I want you to know that I really hope that you win the battle that you're fighting, that you don't tell anybody about.
Thanks, Phil.
And I want you to know that I'm here for all of it. And I know you probably don't tell me everything that you go through, but I'm here for it. Whenever you need anything or whatever you need, just let me know.
I know. You know, I feel like a lot of men don't get that kind of love or like those intentions from their significant other, so I really appreciate it. We've made it through so much together because of that, because you're willing to put more on your shoulders than most people are to help us push through the struggles that we go through.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're a team, you know?
Oh, I know.
I don't know if guys are purposely doing this, but when you're kissing them and they pull you away just to make eye contact with you for a second without saying a word, and then they pull you back in, girls, like it.
Slide your punk ass in for a minute. I'm finna fuck game up. Roll with me on this. Ladies, I got a question. Look at me, look at me, look at me. Stop doing whatever you need to do. You need to look at me. I got a question. This is a serious one. What does your man ask you to do on a day-to-day basis? Cook? No, you was gonna cook anywhere. You're a wife. I'll wait. You still thinking? Well, I mean, seriously, what do you ask him? What does he ask you to do for him? I'm still waiting. Now, how many times do you call his name throughout the day? Wow. Wow.
Let me give you a representation of what it's like in marriage, being married to a man. My husband comes home from work yesterday, and I'm talking like smoke show. Like, he is looking fine. And I'm like, damn, my husband is hot. Like, he works hard. He is a good dad. Like, I'm ready to pounce. Granted, hormones, this is week after my period. Like, I'm feeling good. So get through dinner, get through kids, getting them to bed, and we crawl into bed, and like, I'm ready to go. Kids need something. Okay, so I go upstairs. I'm gone maybe a maximum of 10 minutes, getting the kids water, getting what they need. I come back downstairs, and he is snoring so loud within that 10 minutes that I believe that you could hear him across town. Okay, but I'm not going to let that stop me. Like, I'm in the mood. I'm ready to go. So I crawl into bed, like, I snuggle up right next to him, behind him. I'm like spooning him from behind. This man lets a fart go so bad in his sleep that smelled so horrendous that I physically had to take myself out of our bed and into our master bathroom just so I could breathe.
First of all, can we respect the level of appreciation this woman has for her husband? And lesson learned that you gotta wake him up fast. You can't give too much time for something like that to happen. I don't know if guys are purposely doing this, but when they put their hand around your waist to help guide you in a very crowded public area, girls, like it.
No, that's fine. How many do you have? We did one table.
These are two things that men want that women do not understand. One is that they want reciprocation. And it's not that hard, ladies. Text him first sometimes. Ask him how his day went. Ask him what went wrong. Love him with as few conditions as possible. And just be patient with him. The fact is that most men have experienced relationship after relationship with unbalanced efforts. It's been primarily him putting forth efforts without reciprocation. And then he's been burned and he's not doing that again. 2, he wants you to understand that he will never be perfect. At some point, he will be inconsistent. Sometimes he will be impatient. Sometimes it will be hard for him to handle your mood swings. He just needs to be able to have a bad day or even just a bad moment without it blowing up everything. Because he wants you to be steady in your love for him and to realize that that bad moment, that bad day does not redefine him. That it's actually everything else that he's done right that should define him. A man that finds a woman that understands these two things will probably marry her.
Babe, it looks crooked to me.
It's not crooked. It's the wall that is crooked. That is crooked by like an inch and a half. It's not crooked.
Are you sure that it's not crooked?
Do you see this bubble? Look, the bubble is in between, perfectly centered between the two lines. Perfectly centered.
Maybe the bubble is wrong?
Bubble. The bubble is not wrong. The bubble is right. The bubble is right.
You can just tell in this video how much that man loves his woman because he has the patience of an angel. He not only assures her that it's level and explains why it doesn't look like it's level, and even when she continues to question him, which would trigger a lot of men out there, he just takes a breath and he reassures her that the bubble is not wrong. The bubble cannot be wrong. If you let him know he's a priority and remind him how much you care, you will be amazed at how many problems just disappear from the relationship. 3 really easy things that you can do to your dating profile that will increase your chances of matching with a girl. Move ahead with caution because these are effective, and I am only spilling it because I'm pretty sure that most of the people that follow me are good guys. So here we go. Number 1, post action photos to your page because there is nothing more that ladies love than seeing guys do stuff. I'm serious. You may think that you're not even attractive, but post a photo of you doing something and that girl's gonna think that you are 10 times hotter. Number 2, put minimal effort into what you actually write into your bio. I know this seems silly and I wish it wasn't true, but women tend to assess everything. And if your bio looks like a 10 times edited resume, she's gonna wonder why. Number 3, and this is the most important one, do not have anything on your page that sets an expectation for her. For example, some people make the mistake of writing in their bio, do not match if you will not reply, or won't send message first, because it's just negative energy. And it just puts a little bit more pressure on her to make it right.
I'm not even sure if I posted an action photo of me doing stuff like rock climbing and stuff like that, but I did post a photo of me with a suit on, like a couple, like 2 or 3 photos. And then there was one I did where I was in New York by the subway, right? So I guess it's me being places. I said, hey, this is what I like. Like say for instance, I like fajitas. I like bowling. I throw maybe a joke that was authentic to me, something that I would say in real life. And then also, you know, I talked a little bit about my family and my goals for my life, and probably about a paragraph is what it is. Cause you know, they don't really, you shouldn't, and they don't let you write a whole bunch on dating sites. So, I mean, that's how I did mine. It just depends on how you set it up and how your presentation is a lot of times. In my experience, are you gonna get like 1,000 matches? Probably not. Are you gonna get 100? Probably not. At least not for me. Probably 5, 10, 20, and maybe like 3 or 4 weeks has been my experience. And you just go through, and it's not gonna be, you're not gonna like them all the time. But you just do what you're supposed to be doing and going through and saying, hey, can I see myself with this person after reading their profile? And am I attracted to this person? And really stepping back and thinking about who this person might be based on their photos. Because you can really look at a woman's photos, whether they're super made up and super filtered or not, and kind of get a vibe of who I wouldn't go off of that vibe period, but kind of gauge who this person might be. And then in tandem with the profile blurbs and stuff like that, you can kind of start a conversation if they match back, right? But once again, we know how women act on these dating sites, so just be ready for them to be acting silly as well.
Well, apparently there's a whole group of men out there that are no longer afraid to be single. They're just afraid of being in another pointless yet soul-sucking relationship.
Hey, Don. What? How have you managed to be married to me for so long and not cheat?
You think there's just out here that's like, hey, free pussy!
John!
You think that's what happens? It's a serious question. Do you think that's how it is in these streets? I'd have to put work in. I don't want to do things with you. I'm obligated to do them with you sometimes.
John!
Not big things. I like doing some stuff, but I'm saying, like, want to go sit in this line for this restaurant with a side bitch? I put in all my effort here, and so I don't got extra effort out there. When do I have time to cheat? I be working, I come home, you're here. I don't want to hear your stories sometimes. I love you, I listen, and I'll engage, I made a commitment.
Women just do not realize how logical men are. So much so that even if he's mildly satisfied in his current relationship, especially if he's a hardworking man, he is not going to have the drive or the energy to do something like that. Surprise, surprise, my last video ruffled some feathers. So let's dive deeper. Some people are tying love into it by saying that, well, if he loves me, he won't lose physical attraction for me, or physical attraction won't matter. But ladies, the problem with this is that intimate love does require a certain level of physical attraction. And this is coming from somebody that is a hopeless romantic. Believe me, I understand. And I don't want to portray this idea that it's all about looks for a man, because it's not. If this man has literally married you and dedicated his life to you, it's not just because you were hot. Trust me.
I'm going to show you guys what weaponized incompetence is. It's something my baby daddy loves to use against me very, very well. Last night, I went to bed at like 10. I asked him, hey, can you please clean the bottles, right? And he did. He cleaned the bottles. They're right there. He also did not put dinner away. So there's that. He was in charge of dinner last night, and he just ordered us food. I can't do that because I'm not allowed to do that. But anyway, he left dishes in the sink because I didn't ask him to do that either. So if I were to ask, oh, and he left a pan over there. So if I were to ask him, hey, I thought I asked you to pick up the kitchen last night. Oh, well, you only told me to clean the bottles, and I did clean the bottles. You didn't tell me to put the food away, and you didn't tell me to clean up the rest of it. That's weaponized incompetence. He's playing stupid to basically win an argument. Don't settle for this. And I'm going to start doing videos like this because I can't get out of my situation anytime soon. There are many different forms of abuse, and this is one of them.
I might get a lot of hate for what I'm about to say, but is it possible that your man left the pizza boxes out last night because you can do that? It's just like pizza bread that gets left out. As far as the one glass and the one plate that I see in the sink, I think that it's possible that he cleaned up all the dinner dishes, but then it's possible that he grabbed himself a snack and a drink to watch some TV and relax, and those dishes ended up in the sink because the dishwasher was running. Or maybe he's the type that likes a full sink of dishes to build up before he actually puts them in the dishwasher. And as for the pan, it kind of looks clean and like it belongs there. I don't know, some people leave the most frequently used pans on their stove. My entire point is that your man probably has no idea that you're this upset. Well, until he sees this TikTok. And then he's gonna feel a certain way about you shaming him on TikTok instead of just communicating with him and getting on the same page so that you both feel like partners.
That girl said, I'm going to start recording videos like this and I can't get out of my situation. What a loser.
Men are typically expected to court women, approach women, ask them out on dates, maybe pick them up, pay for dates, make the first move, etc. What are women expected to do to build a relationship? So I'm talking about that initial stage. What are women expected to do?
Wait, so are we saying that like like he takes you on a date? Like,
no, he's like, so like when you're like, let's say like the first date, like usually on a first date, like a guy picks you up, like he takes you there and he's like expected to pay, but like what are like you expected to do, kind of like in these like dating like scenarios?
Just be yourself. Bring good conversation. Be yourself. Like are you expected to impress him? Do you want to do a party trick? I don't know.
I feel like this whole time you have been laying on the floor. You haven't even had a bed or a chair. Well, I've been cuddling up, snuggling, banishing you from your own bed that you gave to me. And he's like, yeah, it's really not a big deal. I'm like, no, I'm about to cry right now. This is the most pathetic thing I've ever seen. And I feel like an ass. He's like, no, literally don't. You're fine. It's not a big deal. So then we go to the kitchen, right? We're making dinner. We have TV dinners that we're going to heat up. So I heat mine up. I'm eating it. He's like, how is it? And I'm like, it's not that good. I don't really like it that much. Like the texture's kind of weird. I don't think it's cooked all the way through, like whatever. And he's like, oh, you want me to reheat it for you? Do you want me to go get you something else? And I'm like, no, it's okay. I'm just probably not going to eat it. And he's like, are you sure? I'm like, yeah, no, I just don't want it. So then he gets up to go to his room. And I'm like, I'll try a bite of his food. So I take a bite. It was frozen. I had to crush up the little ice chunks as I was taking my bite. And he comes back. I'm like, why haven't you told me your food was literally frozen? And he's like, because it wasn't a big deal. What do you mean? I'm sitting here about the texture and the flavor of my TV dinner. You're offering to reheat mine when yours was literally frozen and you didn't say a peep.
This is just another example of how unbothered men can be over some things that for women can ruin their day. But what's amazing about a good man is that even though he doesn't think that it's a big deal, if he sees that it's making a woman uncomfortable, especially the woman that he loves, he will do anything to fix it. You really want to know when you lost him? When you failed to see that he was the one putting in all of the effort. He was the one that changed his schedule in order to see you. He was the one that always asked you how your day was first. He was the one that would pick you up food food or run an errand for you. And it was all to make your life easier. And it is not because he has all the time in the world and he has nothing better to do. No, he's busy with his own things. But he made the conscious decision to make time for you. It's only when he saw over and over again that his efforts were not being reciprocated, and that's when you lost a good man. I don't know when we're finally going to realize that men are no longer afraid to be single.
Emily, I know that I told you I would stitch one of your videos, and this is the one. I like this one. I have a lot to say about it. So let me tell you the story about the cheese sandwich. So the cheese sandwich story goes like this. When I was at my lowest, and I was discarded, I was devalued, I was at my lowest self-esteem, my lowest self-worth, completely insecure, had no idea where I was going to go in life or if I was even going to survive. When I would come home on nights from work or being out at the bar or just self-destructing, I would not want to cook. I would not want to take care of myself. I was self-loathing. I was just completely not, in a place where I wanted to take care of myself. So when I was hungry, I would make a cheese sandwich. A triple-decker cheese sandwich at that. So the triple-decker cheese sandwich is pretty simple. It consists of mayonnaise and cheese. And this would be my go-to just to sustain myself when I was, when I was hungry and I didn't want to cook, I didn't want to take care of myself. So since those days of insecurities and low self-worth and self-loathing and self-destruction and all those things, and by the way, we put 3 pieces on each side of cheese. All of those nights and all those days, over all of these years, I had finally helped myself become a better person, rebuild my confidence, rebuild my self-esteem, trust myself more, take care of myself, meaning, I cook and clean and, do my own laundry, like I am completely self-sufficient and self-sustainable now. So every time that I make this cheese sandwich, which is far and few between nowadays, but every time that I make this cheese sandwich, it reminds me of a place where I once was, that I wasn't happy, that I was destroyed, that I didn't like myself, I didn't love myself, I didn't take care of myself. So this cheese sandwich always reminds me of how far I've come in life, how far I've grown, and how well I can now take care of myself. I can survive, I can thrive, I can be the absolute best father that I can be the best man for this world, I can do all of the things myself. So if somebody were to come into my life, my thought process now as a single dad at age 43 is, what do they bring to my life? What can they add to my life? What value do they bring to me? So it takes a lot of thought. It takes a lot of commitment to even have the want or the need to have a companion, have someone in my life. I mean, what do I have to do to have someone in my life, or what can they bring to me for them to be a part of my life? My question is, are they going to make me a cheese sandwich?
I would take the man that's 5'7" that knows how to move every inch of his body any day over the 6 tall man that can't fit under my sink to fix the plumbing without knocking himself out. Can we talk about the man that admits he wants you, respects you, and gives his time and attention to you? Does anything to make you smile and doesn't see any other girls the way that he sees you? Sounds like an amazing guy, right? Yeah, he's probably in your friend zone.
Immediately no.
This is one of those jokes that's definitely based in truth. So let's talk about this issue that almost every single relationship will go through at some point. The biggest piece of advice that I can give to anyone in this situation is not really anything to do with what you should or shouldn't do. It's actually all about the perspective that I think you should take. Because this needs to be seen as a couple issue, not a her issue, not a him issue. We all know what those arguments are. Instead, you need to remember that both of you are a team. It's not you versus him and the kids. It's you and him versus the world. Never forget that. It is ridiculous how this is even a trend. But for anyone that has actually gotten to the point where you feel like this, I'm going to tell you how you probably got there and what you should do in order to be a decent human being. So, first of all, you probably got to this point in the relationship because during the first few months of dating, you fantasized a lot instead of getting to know this man. Instead, what you may have been fantasizing about is what this man could give to you or what the relationship could give to you. You didn't focus enough on who he is and if you enjoy spending time with him. him. So while he was falling in love with you because he thought that you liked him for him because, you know, you were sticking around and you were saying yes to him, you weren't falling in love with him, which is terrible. And you probably feel terrible at this point. So what do you do now? Stop pretending and tell him. He deserves to know so that he can move on, and he will move on, and he will find somebody that can truly be his match. Trust me.
You have a problem with my backpack?
I do have a problem.
I keep all my stuff in here.
Okay.
What am I supposed to do? Not wear a backpack?
Wear a tote.
Wear a tote. A tote isn't organized. It's like one giant Narnia. And what is wrong with having a backpack?
Literally anyone wearing a backpack gives me the ick.
Real talk though, does she not let you wear like backpacks in your relationship?
Well, we only really have totes around the house.
So what happens when you need to like do something that involves a backpack, like hiking or like literally anything else?
Just bring one of the totes. You know,
doesn't that get annoying?
I mean, kind of, but you know, in all seriousness, I do like backpacks. And I had one, but you have to compromise in a relationship, and so I got rid of it. Yeah,
so that's not compromising.
This is so weirdly controlling. The man at the end of the video is right. That is not compromise. And what most men know, or at least they learn eventually, if you give the control over the small things to a woman, she will eventually control the big things. So run while you can.
I ended up marrying that nice guy. We've been together for 9 years. And this man has the same quality character traits that he had then, even more developed now as a 30-year-old man. Let me give you a perfect example. He's on a work trip. He was just in a work meeting. Texted me, hey, have you eaten lunch yet? I get pretty wrapped up in my work day and didn't think about it. I go to the front door. He has a sandwich delivered for me to make sure that I'm fed. My mom was feeling super burnt out the other day and wanted to go for a walk and realized that her sneakers had a hole in one of them. What did he do? He went online and he ordered her a pair of sneakers. My little sister had a long day at work. He texted her an encouraging text message to try and pick her up. If something needs to be done around the house, he's the first one to do it. This man showed me when he was 21 years old that he had these characteristics. And now I'm with such a gem of a human being. And I am so thankful that I didn't settle for any of the bad boys that were worth a chase back in the day. Because now I'm with somebody that treats me like a mother.
This is why good men continue to focus on treating women so well, because they don't care about all of the superficial demands and expectations that a lot of young women are putting out there. They just do what is right, and they either find a woman that appreciates all of it, or they decide to remain single.
And imagine as a modern woman, you can probably find somebody like this, but you're too busy chasing the bad boy and playing around.
If you want to avoid becoming more like roommates rather than lovers, this advice is for you. There's 2 parts to this. Firstly, pay attention to how often she initiates. This is a huge indicator as to how drawn she really is to you. But this is the second most important part. Pay attention to how she reacts when you initiate. If you ever get the vibe that she's doing it just for you, don't do it. You say no, even if she is saying maybe, because you never want her to feel like she's doing it out of obligation to you. Because that mindset is hard to break, and you might see the impact in the future when she no longer feels obligated, such as on a day where she feels like you didn't help her out enough, or she's just straight up resenting you.
Men saying, I've just decided altogether to avoid women, that it's better to be single, guys. They're almost like happy about the fact that they're gonna make the choice to avoid the entire gender of women because they have yet to actually resolve the war they have within themselves.
It is not because they're fighting a war within themselves. It is because they found peace with themselves. And she was so close. She was just so close to getting there, because at least she's recognizing what men are saying. Because they're tired of the complaining, the double standards, the expectations, and the risk of losing everything that they've built. There is no unresolved internal war going on in these men. He just found peace and contentment on his own instead of using that energy and effort on someone else. The way in which she looks at him is exactly what every single man out there wants. Tell me if I'm wrong.
You kidding me? Who said that you're allowed to be?
Please
Please tell me other people do this and it's not just me. I promise I'm not like a pick-me girl, but tell me why when my husband tells me like, okay, we have a barbecue at my work today, I want you to bring the kids, I immediately am like, great. I have to get ready. I have to look hot now. Not because he thinks I need to look hot and not because I want to impress any of the dudes at his work. No, I just simply want to be known as Taylor's hot wife. And I want people to think that when they see him and they're like, God, got a hot wife. Good for him. Like, I want that for him, all right? I want people to look at Taylor and be like, good for you.
Hear me out. If that man is a low-key nerd that has read and seen all of the Harry Potter and Game of Thrones series, if he's perfectly fine with chilling at home instead of going out on another Saturday night, if his wardrobe consists of jeans and sweatpants, if he's the guy that's playing with all the kids at his buddy's backyard barbecue because he still has that childlike joy, if he knows how to fix anything and in the off chance that he doesn't know how to fix it, he'll just figure it out, if he is not afraid to correct you when you're wrong and he expects you to be able to handle it like an adult, if he hunts but also respects animal life because he would never want another creature to suffer, if he hasn't dated a lot of women because he hasn't wanted to waste his time and energy and resources on the wrong one, if he has a hobby that he is not willing to sacrifice for any relationship because he knows that he needs to make himself happy before he can be in a happy relationship, if you're lucky enough to find this type of man, get his attention and do not let him go because you need to marry that man.
I'm just gonna grab Cameron, this, I swear. Cameron, can you stop? I'm trying to work out. Okay, wait, can you stop it? Hey, Cameron, can you stop the rope? Cameron. This is what you get for telling mom about my steroid use up on.
This message is more so for the ladies because I think men already know this. If you're a girl that has a guy friend that is close to you but doesn't treat you like this, he wants more than a friendship. And I'm sorry to break it to you, but guys that look at you in a very platonic way, he's going to treat you like a sister. But like I said, men know this, which is why when your man has a problem with one of your guy friends because he suspects that he wants more, I think you should listen to him. And it's not about control. The man is not trying to control you. He just doesn't want you to be naive because he doesn't want you to bring the walls down and then get surprised and hurt when something happens. He wants to make sure that you're fully aware of that possibility because he wants you to continue to respect your relationship with him. 3 secrets of couples that stay together forever. Number 1, they continue to ask each other how their days went. This might get tough over time as days become mundane, but even if it's small or something that has happened before, share it because your partner will end up feeling closer to you. Number 2, this one's very important. They know that fights can just be fights and they are not deal breakers because they know that all couples fight. It's how you resolve it that matters. Number 3, they kiss hello before doing anything else when they get home, and they kiss goodbye every time. A good man that has been through stuff will stay single until he finds someone that doesn't crave attention from multiple sources at once. Someone he doesn't have to compete for, not because she's not worth it, but because he is worth more than that. This is just another unspoken expectation that a lot of women have for men, but what women don't realize is that it's actually filtering out all the good men. Because men that care about you, they want to keep you safe, which is why their natural inclination is to face the doorway, whether it's a booth seat or not. They want to be in the best position to spot any threats. But apparently, some women think that if a man doesn't give her the comfy seat, it's because he wants the comfy seat. But trust me, ladies, the man doesn't care. He would sit on the floor if it meant that you would be more comfortable. So when you as a woman allow yourself to diminish what a man is willing to do for you based on these fabricated rules, those good men start to feel like they can't do anything right and what they do for you is not appreciated. And that is not a good feeling for a good man to have because he knows his value and what he expects from his lady is to be able to communicate her feelings and thoughts, especially these types of thoughts that are based in unspoken expectations, because a simple conversation really is all that's needed to clear this up, and then she could realize the quality man that she has in front of her, and so that then she could give him the appreciation and respect that that man deserves.
These modern women think way too much of themselves, and for what reason? This man could literally be trying to do what you ask him to do. I want a man that protects and provides, and he's trying to do that, and you get mad at him. That's crazy. I'm so glad that we have women out there like this that can cook, these modern women and hold them accountable. I'll see you in part 2.